And we're joined on the phone by the one and only David Coverdale of Whitesnake. David, how you doing today?
Hi, Dustin. How you doing, man?
I am excellent. It's an honor to be speaking with you, David.
Mutual, brother. How are you feeling? How's your health?
Everything's good so far, and
Thank God.
I'm excited for everything that's coming from your camp here. Let's talk about the new 35th anniversary release for Slide It In. Can you tell the listeners a bit about it?
Oh, my God. It's already sold out, bro. It's so incredible. I think one thing that's been happening through this dreadful pandemic that's going on, I think people have been watching. I've read Netflix shares went crazy, subscribers. But you've got to have some ear candy, too. You know, particularly if you're doing the housework, as I do, vacuuming and dusting, you know, having my AirPods in and listen to music. Oh, my God. We need eye candy and ear candy, and we've got it for you. My housework is like 3 times quicker when I listen to the rock album.
Awesome, yeah, and it's coming out on vinyl, and it's been remixed, so this is the best possible way for people to hear these albums.
Yeah, and it's in the vinyl. This is very unusual. We tested the idea of having a clearer, louder, cleaner thing. So we actually cut the vinyl at 45 RPM instead of 33. So if you put it on up 33, it's going to sound really fast. But it is really rich. We used 180 grams of the very finest vinyl. Yeah, it's no expense spared, mate. It's really cool. And it's a great collector's item, too. But as I say, it sold out the first day, then Amazon restocked, and boom, gone again. It's amazing.
Yeah, some of the listeners might not know, but the version of Slide It In we got here in the States was a bit different than the one in the UK, but, you know, the new remix of it sounds great, it sounds fresh, and, you know, it sounds like it could have been recorded today.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the MO, the modus operandi, was to bring it up to date without compromising the identity of the time, the integrity of it. Because I've been doing this almost 5 decades, Dustin. So there are certain songs and albums that are kind of religious, sacred relics to some people. To me, the journals of my life journey. But I'm hoping this will reassure people that I haven't gone too Depeche Mode and changed the identity. All I wanted to do was to bring in a modern sonic for you. When you hear it now, everybody has the possibility, even in their phone, of listening to premium digital music. And I wanted to have that sonic consistency for each of my albums, and we've achieved it, I'm happy to say. It sounds great, and I'm thrilled. I've got bluebirds flying out of every orifice.
Well, David, how's it been for you going back to these recordings and going through them again? I mean, I've heard them so many times over the last 30 years, but it's cool to hear new stuff in these new mixes you haven't noticed before.
Well, yeah, we found things that 30 years ago we didn't think was necessary or whatever, or the engineer missed it. But we got all of these new guitars. So the Slide It In, even as bright and as clear and as modern as it sounds, it's tying in both sides. The American side featured the guitarist John Sykes on top of Mickey Moody and Mel Galley, and my old bass player had returned, Neil Murray. So you had the U.S. mix, and the UK mix was Mickey Moody, Mel Galley, and a different bass player. But we've taken, Chris Collier and I, my new hot flavor of the month, my mixing guy, we've taken all of them and put them all together. We found new introductions for All or Nothing, and just brought the best out of Cozy Pal. It's a huge album for me, Dustin, because 50% of the band has passed away since we made the record. But hearing, when we're remixing, hearing the war tracks in the studio and the dialogue between the players, the jokes, the laughing, the fun, and mixes collapsing because of laughing, it just made it was so alive. So the part of me that's maintained a little pocket of grieving was just had sunshine come into it. I really felt it was validating too. I could feel the energy of my former colleagues who I'd lost. I could feel almost validation that this was something they wanted. And everybody who reviewed it said, oh my God, this is the best I've heard Cozy Powell on drums. Oh my God, you can hear everything John Lord's playing. That's the big reward for me.
Yeah, it's definitely great how it turned out. You mentioned the rock album coming up as well. It's another collection of classics getting a bit of a fresh coat of paint.
Correct, yeah, and moving the furniture around a bit, get some new drapes in. You know, I've been doing this for almost 5 decades, so for me, it was necessary, and that's the expression I use, a fresh coat of paint. It's the same house of Whitesnake. It's just we move the furniture around a little bit, and it's more modern, contemporary, without losing that edge that we had at that time capsule. But I'm like a frustrated DJ. That when cassettes came out, I would immediately make theme tapes, you know, rock tapes, meditation tapes, you know, jazz tapes, blues tapes. So I've always been like a DJ, and that continued into iTunes, making playlists. So for me to be able to sit down and put a playlist together of songs that actually have the same consistent sonic sound identity is huge. Before, with having so many different technologies, so many different musicians and producers, they were all different. It was hard to put a compilation thing together, but not anymore.
Well, and I know Whitesnake was set to tour this year. What's the status on that? Are you guys hoping maybe you can get it back on track when everything kind of clears here?
Sammy and I stopped communicating a while back. I think he was very reluctant to accept the fact that everything's changed. It's the whole ball game. Everything as we knew has changed. It's kind of overwhelming when you try to put it in perspective, because we still don't know. Scientists are saying that multiple vaccines will help or whatever, but they just reopened Europe and nobody went to restaurants. They're being really sensible. Everybody's very reluctant. They've either or lost somebody, family members or friends close to them. The pandemic has been really savage and ravaged Italy. And of course, extra concern to me is one of my favorite people in the world, Michele Lupi, our keyboard player, lived in quarantine. You know, I invited him to come home with me, but he wanted to be with his dad and his girlfriend, understandably. But he's been in quarantine for 3 months. It really, really is challenging, but people have been very reluctant to go out, unlike my American brothers and sisters who run out like 5-year-olds at playtime. This is really dangerous. Just because it looks the same out there doesn't necessarily say, you know, some scientists saying that maybe we've all got to get it to build up an immune system. I'm 68 years old. I don't want an aggressive respiratory illness at this time in my life. Are you kidding me? So, you know, if things get bad, I don't know, I'm hoping to be young enough, Dustin, I'll be honest with you, and physically strong enough. I stay in good shape, but I've never, ever considered the idea of touring at 70. Still of the Night is a big Tarzan son of a bitch to perform, and I just hope I'll be able to do that and to make my appropriate farewell tour to the world for a glorious 50-year career. So I'm holding that on my heart, as well as finding a vaccine so we can all but get back to hugging, kissing, and shaking hands, and the other bits and pieces.
Excellent. It's an honor speaking with you. I'm a huge fan, and everything coming out here sounds great.
Bless you, Dustin. Mutual. Thank you so much for taking the time. My love to you and yours. Stay safe and well, and my love to your listeners. Hopefully we get to see each other soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, David.
All right, brother. God bless you.
And again, that was the legendary David Coverdale of Whitesnake, and the 35th anniversary release of Whitesnake's Slide It In is out, and the rock album from Whitesnake is coming up soon.